SDG Online Tambayan. Marami tayong pag-uusapan ngayon since nawala tayo nung nakaraang linggo at ito ang episode 11 ng SDG Online Tambayan. So, live tayo ngayon at napapanood sa ating mga social media pages, 2030 Youth Force in the Philippines Incorporated at QUARANTALK Media. Marami din tayo, may mga guests din tayo. Pag-uusapan natin ang Filipino Values Month na ino-observe natin ngayong Nobyembre. Yan. So, wag na natin patagalin. Mamaya na din tayo mag-update ng ating COVID update ngayong araw na ito. Wag na natin patagalin. Ito na ang episode 11 ng SDG Online Tambayan. At magandang gabi sa inyong lahat at welcome na naman sa isa na namang episode na SDG Online Tambayan. Yan, episode 11 na at ang SDG Online Tambayan, ang kulitan at kwentuhan na pinag-uusapan ng Sustainable Development Goals. Ito ay inihahandog ng 2030 Youth Force in the Philippines at QUARANTALK Media. Ako si Lance at wala akong kasama ngayon. So, nami-miss nyo sila Kai, sila Neil, sila Franz. Wala sila ngayon. So, marami silang ginagawa currently. Pero, hindi naman tayo papahuli. Marami tayong pag-uusapan ngayon. So, isa sa mga pag-uusapan natin ngayon, yun nga yung pinaka-pag-uusapan natin ngayon, ang Filipino Values Month. So, wag na natin patagalin. Punta na tayo sa next segment natin, ang SDG Ask. Yan. Nagtanong kami kanina, nag-post kami kanina sa ating Facebook page kung ano yung paborito mong Filipino value. So, may mga nagsagot na bayanihan. Yan, yung mga usual na sagot dun sa Filipino value. Ako ang paborito kong Filipino value, yun din, yung bayanihan, saka yung pakikipagkapwa-tao. Yan, na hindi hindi lang tayo nakikisama, kundi nakikipagkapwa din tayo. Yan yung comment nyo down below kung ano yung mga paborito nyong Filipino value na pwede natin pag-usapan mamaya-maya. So, syempre, dahil mag-isa lang ako ngayon, ang weird naman pag i-challenge ko yung sarili ko. So, wala muna tayong SDG challenge. Diretso na tayo. Kasama natin ang ating mga guests sa next segment na Zoom In. Yan. So, every November of each month, ino-obserba natin o sineselebra natin ang Filipino Values Month. Ito ay dahil sa virtue of Presidential Proclamation number 479 of 1994. So, since 1994 pa pala na sineselebrate na natin or ino-observe na natin ang Filipino Values Month. Ngayong taon, merong tema na Shaping Peace, Values, and Virtues Amidst Adversities. So, ngayong November, hindi lang puro takutan kasi, di ba, undas nga. Sineselebrate din natin yung mga value natin bilang isang Pilipino. Marami tayong pag-uusapan tungkol dyan at paano natin i-connect sa SDGs yung mga Filipino values na meron tayo. Yan, wag na natin patagalin pa. Tawagin natin ang SDG 5 Ambassador ng 2030 Youth Force in the Philippines, si Maiko Argonza. Yan. Hi, Maiko. Magandang gabi.
Hi, Rans. Good evening.
Yan. At kasama din natin ang SDG 10 Ambassador ng 2030 Youth Force in the Philippines, si Nina Lim. Yan.
Hello po.
So, yan. Hi, Nina.
Hi, Kuya Ran. Hi, Kuya Michael.
Hi.
Magandang gabi, Nina. Yan. Kayo, ano yung paborito nyong Filipino value? Michael, ikaw?
Ha. Wait, out of the blue na. Favorite Filipino value? Siguro yung kapwa, yung value natin ng kapwa. Kasi isa yun sa mga very defining features ng Philippines. Pag nagtanong ka sa mga mga visitors natin, ang una nilang sasabihin ay welcoming ng Philippines. And I think it's because of the kapwa culture.
Totoo yan. Totoo. Nina, ikaw, ano yung paborito mong Filipino value?
Para sa akin po, ang pakikisama. Kasi when we talk about pakikisama, it could also mean na parang being in service of others. It also means na, it also kind of relates nga to yung sinabi ni Kuya Michael na we also are like isang kapwa talaga tayo, and it's an opportunity also for growth together. It's also super inspirational kasi kapag sinasabi natin pakikisama, parang we automatically think na okay, not only do we serve other people, but we also do the things that we have to do together. So, inspirational. I like it.
Ang galing nung sinabi yung dalawa. Kasi sa mga nababasa ko, pati dun sa, punta tayo dun sa kapwa, yung kapwa na meron tayo. Iba yung pakikisama tsaka sa pakikipagkapwa. Sa mga, pero mamaya, pag-usapan natin siya mamaya. Pero ang dami-daming Filipino values na meron tayo. Pero konti lang kasi yung oras natin ngayong gabi. Pag-usapan natin yung nasa yung apat na nasa panunumpa sa watawat ng Pilipinas. Alam niyo ba yun? Tandaan niyo pa siya? Kung ano yung panunumpa.
Iba ata yung version nung nagre-recite pa ako.
Or ang tagal na nating hindi nagpa-flag ceremony. Hindi na natin sa ulo yung panunumpa sa watawat ng Pilipinas. Nina, ikaw?
Parang naaalala ko lang makadiyos at makatao. Yun lang.
So, since sinabi na ni Nina yung makatao, punta muna tayo sa makatao. Pero ano yan, makadiyos, makatao, makakalikasan, tsaka makabansa. So, yun yung apat. Based sa mga makatao, since you're both SDG 5, you're SDG 10 ambassador, Nina, and Michael, SDG 5 ambassador. Breaking a gender barrier is a form of being makatao. Diba? Kasi, yun yung inclusivity natin eh. Kasi, pakikipagkapwa-tao yun on if we're going to break gender barrier. Right now, since SOGI is laging pinag-uusapan na ulit, or hindi naman lagi, pero pinag-uusapan na siya ulit kasi hini-hear na ulit siya sa ating legislative body. How can we relate our values as Filipinos, Michael, in achieving gender equality?
Okay, so like I said kanina, yung pakikipagkapwa. What people fail to understand with the issue of SOGI is, and what the defenders fail to defend, is that SOGI has, everyone has SOGI. Malimit kasi na, or kadalasan, na ina-associate natin ang SOGI with just the LGBT. But fail to educate people that everyone has a SOGI. And that this bill, whenever we talk about it, it affects everyone. As well as, may mga nagsasabi rin kasi na ang Constitution ay nagde-defend naman na, di ba, sa SOGI ay sa equality, ganyan. But hindi rin natin nasasabi na ang Constitution ay hindi self-executory. So, kailangan niya ng laws para ma-execute siya. So, with that, the SOGI bill, in relation to kapwa, we should look at it as a human rights issue and not as a morality issue. Kasi wala namang mali o walang mali o tama sa konsepto ng SOGI. It's just being. It's just being.
Yeah, totoo 'yun, no. At hindi lang SOGI yung pinag-uusapan. Punta tayo kay Nina on having this anti-discrimination bill because discrimination does not necessarily only means gender. Hindi naman gender lang ito. Sa'yo, Nina, how do you relate these bills that we're talking about currently in achieving equality or inclusivity naman?
That's a good question. Kasi right now, like what you said, discrimination is very all-encompassing. Ang daming topics pa din nating pag-usapan when it comes to discrimination. And unfortunately, it's something din na it's not just prominent here in the Philippines, it's also very, very, very evident in so many other countries as well. When it comes to Filipino values, there's also this thing that I think we also need to consider. And the thing that we should also consider is that um, may sense of bayanihan na kailangan nating gawin. And bayanihan isn't only something na, okay, we relate with one another. It also means helping each other in a progressive aspect. And when we talk about nga, at least this anti-discrimination bill, it's our big step forward when it comes to bayanihan and making sure that we're creating inclusive spaces. I think personally that if this anti-discrimination bill is pushed forward with a sense of bayanihan and urgency as well from the Filipino people, seeing na, okay, kailangan natin talaga i-practice to ng full-on, di ba? Then, this is really a progressive action, not only as a way na makakagawa pa tayo ng inclusive spaces, but it's also a way rin na makakagawa rin tayo ng open and inclusive area for everyone, not only to talk and feel safe, but also to further what else we can do para sa society natin. And this can, again, like going back now, this can really only be done if we inculcate bayanihan and a sense of urgency in that. Kasi syempre, 2030 rin ang part sa atin ng SDGs, ang reduced inequalities. And for me, at least for everyone rin, what we're doing now to achieve this form of inclusivity is a way also of saying na kaya natin to. This is a way of saying na we are one with each other, and it's more than creating an inclusive space but hopefully an inclusive country. So, yes, salamat po.
Yeah. Nina, you mentioned inclusivity and bayanihan. So, with that, how can we highlight it even more right now na nagkakaroon ng efforts on having inclusive spaces and more safe spaces for us? How can we highlight it even more na kailangan siya?
It's really good rin nga po na that was mentioned because when we compare at least 2 to 3 years ago, we really know that there's so much progression na nangyari na, especially in terms of inclusivity, diversity, in so many aspects nga po. I think the best way that we should also consider highlighting these efforts is also to be reminded na ang dami na nating nagagawa in terms of initiating projects, initiatives, innovations. Right now, hindi natin dapat makalimutan na kailangan rin natin ng participation. While it's really, really great to start all these initiatives, it's really great to be the person who spearheads all these activities for the benefit of a community or the benefit of making sure that other societies also feel safe and included. We should also be reminded na, oo nga, no, kailangan natin gawin tong area na to in a way na everyone really is included by being part of it. And by being part of it also means na, people supporting other people. We have to ensure din na we highlight it through of course, supporting. And how can we support? It's by informing other people na these projects do exist. And how do we make that happen? Constant promotion also in ways na, oo nga no, this isn't easily accessible na may ganito palang project. So, ang gagawin ko, instead of, well, of course, continue pursuing projects, but since may existing project na ganito na, let's make sure to remind other people as well to participate in it. And let's all really participate and be um together in this. And connecting nga po ulit to Bayanihan, it's an opportunity for us to collectively grow and to collaborate. Wag natin kalimutan, kailangan natin ng collaboration. And while being innovative is very important, we should also be reminded that we can't do this alone. To achieve inclusivity, we have to include others in the conversation. So yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's great, no? Kailangan talaga lahat kasama dun sa usapin na ito. Maiko, and Mina, correct me if I'm wrong, there's a news recently that there is an effort to have a gender-neutral space already. Na CR, na common room. Maiko, with that, ano yung this is a win for us in the sense na nakikita na yung efforts ng mga tao na dapat meron ng gender neutral bathroom, etc., having it as a safe space for everyone. But how do we highlight it even more na hindi lang dapat ito, na ano pa ba yung need nating gawin more than those kinds of efforts in the public spaces, Michael?
Definitely, hindi talaga nagtatapos doon. Kasi, historically, meron na tayong mga gender-neutral bathrooms in public spaces. Kahit wala pa yung law, kahit hindi pa nare-raise yung issue ng anti-discrimination or whatever. You can see it in restaurants, you can see it in malls. Sometimes, meron din minsan sa ibang establishments, no? And ang tawag doon sa gender-neutral bathroom na yun ay bathroom. So, as that might be a gender-neutral bathroom, it's just that, a bathroom. Ang moving forward, ang magbabago talaga dapat doon ay yung respeto natin dun sa susunod na tao na gagamit noon. Kasi syempre, hygiene na usapan natin doon. And it shouldn't go, hindi dapat tayo mag-dwell dun sa kung sino o kung ano yung katauhan nung gagamit nung banyo. It's more of how we can keep that banyo a safe or a clean space.
Yeah. Ang galing nun, no? Nga. Kahit naman dito sa bahay natin technically gender neutral naman yung mga CRs sa mga bahay. Kasi bathroom naman sa exactly what Michael said. So, yun yung makatao na value na meron tayo. Punta tayo sa recently na lang nangyari. Let's go to makakalikasan. I know you're SDG 5 and SDG 10 ambassadors, but we currently experience the strongest typhoon in the world. What is this telling us? As people who wants to achieve sustainable development and is striving for climate action. Maiko, ikaw muna.
Okay. I just want to qualify that, no? Strongest so far in 2020. Kasi it's nowhere near Ondoy, but it is still destructive. Para lang hindi natin ma-mislabel yung bagyo na nangyari this year. So moving forward, we can see how ill-prepared we are or how ill-equipped we are when it comes to natural disasters. And I think it also reflects on how much we give importance to it, rather the lack of importance that we give to it. And even though SDG 5 ambassador ako, important sa akin ang NDRRM kasi during cases of disaster, most of the victims or yung mga mas susceptible to the disasters are women, children, and the LGBT. Kasi ang mangyayari niyan pagdating sa disasters, magkukumpulan kayo sa isang evacuation center and mas mapapaigting yung case na magkakaroon ng karahasan or magkakaroon ng away ganyan kasi nasa isang lugar lang kayo at lahat kayo ay going through a disaster, a post-disaster situation. And studies have shown by the UN, by ADB, that a lot of the victims of these violences during disasters or post-disasters are women and children.
Ikaw, Nina, what is this? Ano yung sinasabi sa atin ito? And paano natin mararadiate pa yung value of makakalikasan to other people?
Yung sa first po, I think this is really telling us na climate emergency is real. It's very, very real, and it's something na it doesn't only affect one specific group of people. It also shows rin na ang actions na ginagawa natin, while it might not directly affect us or other people, it might also affect the people who were affected. And while like yung sinabi nga ni Kuya Maiko na there are a lot of things that are happening, especially now. And this issue, or at least yung typhoon na nangyari, it's not only a sign sa atin na okay, marami ring naapektuhan, and it's not only tayo per se yung naapektuhan. It's really everyone, and nobody's really exempt from experiencing the tragedies that natural disasters really create sa atin. And when it comes to paano ba natin mariradiate pa yung pagiging makakalikasan, I think it's first really knowing the relevance. Why do we have to take care of our environment? Parang that's always something that we have to be rooted in. Reminding ourselves na hindi lang tayo yung maaapektuhan, it's also other people. It's also the ones na hindi man natin na makakontact directly. Pero imagine, or at least how we also saw it, so many people's lives suddenly changed because of this typhoon. And while it might have been something now we tried preparing for and creating all these efforts to prepare, we can't avoid na marami pa ring mga lives na mag-change talaga. So first, of course, remember na this is not a personal issue. It's an issue that involves everyone, and we need to take action towards it. We have to be rooted in the idea that we have to take care of our environment because it's our home. It's something na as basic as it is, kung tayo nga hindi natin pinapabayaan ang sarili nating mga houses or sarili nating mga families, then we should also consider na someone else also would be affected by it. It's also something na as our home, it's something that we should take care of. And I think last na lang, how we can radiate makakalikasan and at least remind more people na we have to do it is to start it ourselves. Parang sabi nga ulit ni Kuya Maiko, we might be SDG 5, SDG 10, not directly environment, but we also are aware of our part na collective action ang kailangan dito. It's not something na, oh, we see a lot of people online na they're doing their climate action, they're already reducing their waste. We can't just depend on these people as well to take action. It's also something na kailangan tayo din. Collaborative effort eh. And if we only let the people who are willingly reducing their waste, wala rin tayong masyadong ma-achieve if we only rely and then we constantly nagpo-pollute naman, gano'n. So, start also doing it ourselves and go to our networks and say, guys, alam niyo ba na it might be difficult pero kaya rin natin. Try to eat less meat or to reduce your waste. It's something na small actions will really help, but collaborative action does so much. So, strength in numbers. Yes. Thank you po.
I
Ang
would
galing
like to
nung,
add
ang galing. Yes, Michael.
I would like to add to Nina lang. So aside from us having collective action, we should also try to raise to the corporations na nag-handle ng means of production na baka yung pag-produce nyo ng product ay pwede nating baguhin para mas maging sustainable, di ba? It's not just us not choosing sachets over over liter bottles of shampoos kasi some of us can't sustain just buying a big bulk agad-agad eh. Some of us just live day by day and can only buy sachets. But maybe may magkaroon tayo ng possible refilling stations na lang, may kanya-kanyang containers, and that would lessen so just something that we can do na we can probably raise this issue to the producers themselves.
Totoo. Yung, ang galing yung, it's a collective action, not just hindi tayo lang. From that, we had all this crisis this year, the typhoon recently, this pandemic, recently din, hindi lang tubig, may mga fires din na nababalita, may mga sunog rin. How do we, this is our own opinion as SDG advocates, how do we not cross the line of romanticizing our value, our Filipino trait of resiliency? Michael, ikaw.
Okay, first and foremost, there's nothing romantic about being resilient. Being resilient means na lagi kang na-oppress or lagi kang nagkakaroon ng problema. At sa med, ang tinatawag namin doon ay pathologic. Issue yan, kung lagi kang may dinadanas na problema, hindi yan tama. It means na either you're unequipped or ill-equipped to handle that stress. And makikita natin with these issues, the pandemic, yung mga recent na fires, ganyan, even before the pandemic, mga apoy dito, ganyan, sa Mandaluyong, sa Parañaque, sa Pasay, we have lapses in how we try to remediate these things na kung paano natin sila tinatry na i-avoid ganyan. And I think it also reflects on how laws, policies, and other ordinances are being executed. And I think yun nga, yung bayanihan system na, and as well as this resiliency, nakikita mo lang na resilient yung victims eh. Hindi mo na, never mong nakikita na sinasabi na walang ginagawa yung people who are should be taking care of them, ganun. It's always na, resilient siya, kaya niya yan, go. Pero it shouldn't be that way kasi hindi naman dapat nila dinadaanan yung problema in the first place.
Pero isn't it, since it's innate, parang innate sa atin, since it's a Filipino value embedded on us, of the bayanihan system, we have, kanina pinag-usapan natin yung kapwa, yung pakikipagkapwa-tao, pakikisama. Part kasi natin siya. So, how do we not cross that? Na dapat, hindi lang dapat ganun, kasi dapat may actions towards it, di ba? On doing that. Nina, ikaw?
Going muna to the term resilience, parang when we do think about resilience, it's the ability kasi na parang to withstand the circumstances that are put sa'yo despite the amount of difficulty that it places. I feel like first, resilience, the idea of resilience, it's very subjective. Especially when we put also the idea na ang tao or ang mga Filipino, resilient tayo kapag nabigyan tayo ng mga situations na minsan it's just difficult. And we can't automatically assume that because nakayanan natin, we were able to build back to something na makakonsider na natin normal. That's not, it doesn't automatically say na, okay, resilient tayo kasi nagawa natin. To be resilient also means to be able to do what we can to be able to act on something that was happening. But to say kasi rin of Filipinos are resilient, or at least the idea of that is, um, first it's very yun nga, subjective, and at the same time, um, we also have different coping strategies with the amount of things that are happening. And talking about the typhoon, like what we said kanina, talking about the pandemic, um, we also have to consider na just because na meron tayong a sense of urgency in helping other people, it is also our call to um, be able to alleviate the situation even at least a little bit more. It's also an opportunity for us to really think about what else can we do. But then it doesn't automatically say rin na, okay, because we are helping each other out, resilient na agad tayo kasi urgent sa atin na magtulungan. I think what we have to do though, like how we can avoid crossing the line to say to romanticizing resiliency is first know your purpose na. Like I know I keep saying that no, pero know your purpose. Ba't ka ba nagtutulong sa iba? If your main purpose is really to help other people, that's really good. And we also at the same time know when it's okay to be at a difficult point. You draw your boundaries. Say na, okay, nahihirapan ako. And you're allowed to say na nahihirapan ka. And not only in natural disasters, no, but I think in general, na we have to consider na we have we are allowed to be experiencing different kinds of issues. And you don't always have to say na kakayanin ko kung hindi na talaga kaya. And it's really nice to see that other people are also talking about that more. And also a lot of people are really chiming in and saying na, I need to ask for help. And I think it's great that we do that. And again, just know your purpose and why you help. Because resilience doesn't always look like, kaya ko pa, ready, let's go. You know, sometimes it's also saying na, I need help. And saying that you need help is okay.
Galing. Ang galing nung ano, knowing what your purpose is, so that clear sa atin yung end goal natin. Like, hindi siya vague, hindi din blurry yung end goal natin. If we have a clear purpose, we know what we're doing, and we have a clear track on how to do it and what to do in order for us to achieve it. Before we punta muna tayo dun sa ano, yung kaninang pinag-usapan natin na pakikipagkapwa. This is a Filipino trait or a Filipino value that we all are appreciating. Going through this 2020, ano sa tingin niyo yung highlight for you personally on the term pag sinabing pakikipagkapwa-tao? Ano yung unang papasok, tapos dalawa lang yung sasabihin na word sa inyo? This 2020, year 2020, and pakikipagkapwa-tao. What would be your highlight? Maiko, ikaw.
Wait. Highlight of the year when it comes to pakikipagkapwa?
Yeah.
Tama ba? Ha.
Yeah.
Ha? Hindi na meron ka na.
Kasi pakikipagkapwa or kapwa itself is, katulad nga ng sinabi ni Maiko kanina, is an embedded Filipino value in all of us. Na it's a sense of looking at others as if you're looking at yourself in that other people. So with that, and with us observing Filipino Values Month, looking back, hindi pa naman tapos ang 2020, but looking back from our day sa mga nakaraang araw ng 2020, what would be that light bulb moment na pag sinabi yung 2020 and pakikipagkapwa-tao, ito yun. Ito po yung SDG challenge natin kasi nahihirapan po yung mga guests.
Yeah, sige. I'll go.
Go.
Okay. Based on experience naman, very willing to help talaga when it comes to things like the pandemic, ganyan. So, by experience, nung nag-try kami mag-raise ng funds for UP drivers, the jeepney drivers of UP, we were daunted by the task kasi our goal was to have 1,000 pesos for every driver and dispatcher. So that's a total of 3 drivers. So that's a total, grand total of 350,000 pesos. And inisip namin, guys, kaya ba natin to? Makukuha ba natin to? In the span of a week. In the span of or 3 weeks. Tapos, ang nangyari, we got so many responses, replies, messages coming in from as far as Canada, New Zealand, na alumni of UP sending in help. And makita mo natin doon na talagang bilig naman ang mga tao na tumulong as long as they trust each other. And sa concept ng pagkapwa, important din yung trust. Kasi mahihirapan kang makipagkapwa-tao kung hindi mo tinatrust yung isang tao, di ba? So, since yun nga, may isang common goal, which was to help the jeepney drivers, and we trusted each other na, hey, we're legit, we're a group trying to help the people, may contact kami, ganyan, and pinapakita talaga namin the drivers themselves needing help. It's not just some page asking for donation. So yun, important with pakikipagkapwa, and this 2020 is trust talaga.
Galing. Nina, ikaw?
For me po, I think parang in general, I really was able to see action in adversity. Parang I realized this year na ang dami talagang nangyari. The pandemic alone, there were so many things that have happened. And when it came to the difficulties that this pandemic brought, we didn't only see it in a physical or like medical sense na kasi coronavirus, the propagation of that. But we also saw na may economic na issues yun tayo when it came to sustaining our businesses. There were also different jobs different jobs na nawala because of the pandemic. So many changes, so many difficulties. But this year, parang ngayon ko lang na-notice or parang bigla kong like, wow, aha moment. So many people took action, and it's not just organizations. You were also able to see individuals starting their own projects. You were also able to see schools do different fundraising activities, or even mga I don't know, donation drives that we did so that we can give each other the support that we need. And it's really nice kasi it's not because people were required or obligated to help other people out. It was our sense of pakikipagkapwa-tao na people felt that we have the ability to help each other out. And it's really nice kasi it didn't even just fall under one sector. Like it wasn't only, hindi lang tayo nagtutulong dun sa directly affected dun sa pandemic. We also looked into the different aspects. We support, I noticed also ngayon there were also mga small businesses na ang dami nating sinusupportahan. Let's support the local businesses. there were also people who innovated what they can innovate, so that we can also sustain uh, at least a good income despite the difficulties ngayon. And also, what's super nice rin is hindi lang tayo nag-help sa businesses and people in general, but we also took it even further na tulungan na natin ang mga frontliners, tulungan na natin yung mga working right now. And this is really the best opportunity to see that Filipinos are willing to help. And pakikipagkapwa-tao is really evident, even despite the adversities that we've already experienced. And it's so inspiring to see that we support one another. And like what Kuya Mike said, we have given the trust to other people. And it's also great when we continue this pakikipagkapwa-tao because it's one of the defining traits of being a Filipino. It's helping each other out, even kapag mahirap.
Yes. And with that, this last question is just basically the summary of what we talked about. Parang ang bilis lang ng oras pero ang dami natin na pag-usapan. Na it all boils down to our battle cry as in SDGs, in achieving the 2030 agenda of leaving no one behind. The How do you think that appreciating Filipino values can relate to achieving the 2030 agenda and the sustainable development goals in general and leaving no one behind? Kasi right now, yun yung pinaka-makaka-relate lahat tayo. Kasi if medyo jargon sa mga tao ang sustainable development goal, punta tayo doon sa pakikipagkapwa-tao at bayanihan na term. Paano natin marirelate na ito yun ito yung leaving no one behind. Parang sinagot ko na pero yun yun ano yung sa inyo, paano natin siya ma-relate on how this Filipino Values Month and appreciating it can be related on leaving no one behind and achieving the 2030 agenda. Nina.
Well, how we can do that is translating what we already know to what else we can do. I feel like we already know a lot about our Filipino values as Filipinos. Sobrang na tayong exposed din. Siyempre, nasa Philippines tayo, we have Filipino families, or at least Filipino influences that already teach us the different values that we should know about. And when we know these Filipino values, and maganda sa Filipino values natin, it's very centered on community building. It's also centered in being one sa Kristiyano, pakikipagkapwa-tao and bayanihan. These are really vital traits or at least values that we should also translate into what else we can do. And I think despite nga, like what you said, Clarence, minsan the term sustainable development goals can be a little bit parang jargon because it's mabigat yung term. But then at the end of the day, we always have to be reminded din na their goals for a better future. And ako personally, when I think about the SDGs, they're goals na we all are involved in and we all have an impact on. And the only way we can actually achieve a better life, or at least a better future, not only for us, but also the future generations, is to be reminded na nga naman, bayanihan, that's already something na we really were given so much emphasis on before. So how come we can't translate that to what else we can do for our future? And what's also important is in our SDGs, it's not something na we only do alone. It's really something na may impact tayo on each other. So, like what you said, leaving no one behind is a core value ng SDGs. But so is pakikipagkapwa-tao and bayanihan in the sense ng Filipino values. All we have to do is really translate that value into something more concrete and put it into action. So, yes. Oh.
Thank you, Nina. Michael.
Okay. Kung hindi pa na-realize ng mga tao kung anong ibig sabihin ng leaving no one behind, ito na po yon. Itong situation na kung nasa na tayo, ito na po yung leaving no one behind. Marami sa atin ang naging biktima ng COVID, not just the sickness itself, but the aftermath of the economic aftermath of the pandemic. And kita naman natin na marami namang taong nakakaintindi kung anong ibig sabihin ng leaving no one behind. It doesn't necessarily mean na, SDG to. It means lang na people know na hindi dapat nila pabayaan yung kapwa nilang tao or yung kapwa nila Pilipino. And like Nina said, from the realization, we have to act now. What can we do moving forward from these realizations? So, yun, we can do calls, we can do more community work, we can do more wala akong better term but request to our government to provide something or things na mas makakatulong pa sa atin right now, no?
Ayun, maraming salamat sa inyong dalawa. Kasi ang dami nating napag-usapan, ang daming bagay na natutunan sana sa atin yung mga manonood na SDG Online Tambayan. Pero more than that, nakita natin na sobrang related ng mga values natin bilang isang Pilipino on achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. Maaaring malayo man sila, pero kung titignan mo kasi values tapos Sustainable Development Goals, pero na-connect natin sa ngayong gabi. Yun yung isa sa mahalagang nagawa natin. At sana ma-appreciate din ng mga tao yung napag-usapan din natin ngayon, and ma-appreciate nila more than yung Sustainable Development Goals ay yung mga Filipino values na kaakibat nito sa pag-achieve. Maraming salamat, Nina and Maiko, sa pagsama sa ating kulitan at kwentuhan ngayong gabi. And punta na tayo sa next segment natin, ang Tea Time. Ayan. So, syempre, ako din yung magti-tea time. Sagutin ko lang yung tanong kanina na ano yung highlight or ano yung pumapasok sa isip ko pag sinabi yung pakikipagkapwa tao tsaka 2020. Kasi this 2020, ito yung time na totoong nararamdaman mo kung ano yung nararamdaman din ng iba. Nung time na nag-total lockdown or naka-ECQ lahat, lahat tayo, hindi talaga pwedeng lumabas. So, yun yung para sa akin. Kasi, yung nararamdaman mo yung feeling ng others, and literal na nararamdaman mo siya. Hindi lang siya empathy, hindi lang siya sympathy dun sa tao, kundi ramdam mo siya literally. Since pag sinabing wala na akong magawa sa bahay, ganun talaga. Wala talagang magawa sa bahay. Tapos pag sinabing nadadown ako kasi hindi ako makalabas, ganun talaga lahat. Di ba? And in that way, we were reminded na meron tayong nagagawa towards others kahit ganun yung nangyayari. Kasi iisa yung flow natin. Katulad ng sinabi ni Nina kanina. Isa yung purpose natin. Paano tayo makakatulong? Yun lang yung sinasagot natin that time. We, sa social media, ang daming donation drive, ang daming nangyari, ang daming webinars na nakapag-keep up sa atin. And that's pakikipagkapwa-tao. That's one Filipino value na makaka-highlight sa atin. Natutunan din natin gumawa ng community groups. Dami-daming Facebook groups na nabuo during this pandemic. And madami din mga taong ngayon lang nagkakilala. Yun yung pakikipagkapwa-tao during this pandemic. And that's a good hindi naman, that's one thing na pwedeng i-highlight yung Filipino value during this 2020. And that's leaving no one behind as well. Marami pa tayong pag-uusapan all throughout before the end of the year on the upcoming episodes. We'll talk about the value of makakalikasan. Pag-usapan natin yon in the upcoming episodes. Mag-deep dive tayo sa sinabi ni Nina kanina na climate emergency. Yun yung isang magandang episode or upcoming episode natin this SDG Online Tumambay. And if you want to know more about the 2030 Youth Force in the Philippines, you can always visit us at our Facebook pages or social media pages. That's facebook.com/youthforceph. For Instagram and Twitter, that's at youthforceph. And you can also stream our podcast in Spotify. That's type on Humans for SDGs. So that's our podcast. Makinig kayo ng mga kwento ng mga tao na nag-advocate for the Sustainable Development Goals. And inaanyayahan po namin kayo lahat na tumutok sa mga shows ng QUARANTALK Media. Tuwing Lunes po ay ang QUARANTALK with Jules Giang and A. Antonio. Tuwing Tuesday naman, ang The Main Agenda with Ate Jermaine Derunya. At tuwing Wednesday, 7 p.m. ay ang Kilos Kabataan with Jules Giang, and 9 p.m. ay QT Earth with Sir Rodney Galicia. And tuwing Thursday, 9 p.m. ang Throwback Kasaysayan with Prof. Gio Giang, and tuwing 10:30 p.m. ang Inuman with Thais and Rafi, and tuwing Friday ang pinangintay ng lahat ang SDG Online Tambayan tuwing 9 p.m. So that's weekdays, and tuwing Saturday meron tayong 9 p.m. Radyo Comelec na mismong nandyan si spokesperson James Jimenez para sagutin ang inyong mga tanong. And tuwing Sunday, meron din tayong live telecast ng mga Roman Catholic Masses. So, every day po ay may nangyari po sa QUARANTALK Media. And, ayun, so watch out for all the shows, QUARANTALK Media, and watch out for all the happenings during this 2030 Youth Force in the Philippines Incorporated. You can check us out on social media, on all our social media pages. Yan. So, ayun po. Sobrang dami nating natutunan ngayong araw na ito at ngayong gabi na ito. At sana huwag kayong magsawang panoorin kami tuwing Friday 9 p.m. at huwag kayong magsawang panoorin ang lahat ng shows ng QUARANTALK Media tuwing gabi, weekdays and Saturdays and Sundays na din. Yan. And bago ang lahat, syempre, hindi natin kakalimutan ang ating COVID-19 updates dito sa Philippines. As of November, today, 6, 2020, may total active cases tayo na 34,374. Ang total cases po natin ay tumaas na 391,809. May total deaths po tayo na 7,461. And total recoveries of 349,974. Yeah. So, ayun. Stay safe. Still, kung hindi po necessary lumabas, ay wag po tayo lumabas lahat. And see you ulit next week sa isa na namang episode ng Kulitan at Kwentuhan para pag-usapan ng Sustainable Development Goals dito sa SDG Online Tambayan. Paalam! Thank you!